Hey there, this is episode number 217. And in this show, we are breaking down how to actually structure the content for a Train the Trainer program. So, if you're a coach or a consultant, you're a subject matter expert or service provider, and you are building an actual Train the Trainer program, you're wondering what actually goes into that? What are some of the things that I could think about? We are going to break all of that down for you in this particular podcast episode. My name is April Beach, if you and I don't know each other yet, and I am the founder and CEO of the Sweet Life Company and host here on the show for the last 7 years. Thank you so much for listening to this show. We're super glad that you're here, and we are known for delivering business trainings and strategies that other coaches will charge you thousands for. If you are in a place where you are building your certification program or a Train the Trainer program, or if you're ready to start licensing your content, your trainings, your courses, and your curriculum to other companies, you are in the right place. Visit us at sweetlifeco.com and you can apply for our Amplify Licensing Accelerator, or you can immediately get into our entry-level but powerful Licensing Launchpad training by visiting licensinglaunchpad.com. In that training, I even break down for you exactly what the top 10 industries are looking for when they are out there hunting down programs just like yours to bring into their organization. So in this show, we're talking about how to actually build the components and just different ways that I recommend you think about strategically delivering your content in the Train the Trainer capacity. If you have any questions about this show, when it drops live, I will be off grid surfing for 10 days in Costa Rica, but you can always email my team at hello@sweetlifeco.com. If you find yourself in an urgent situation with a licensing opportunity, or if you would like to learn more about our upcoming 30-day licensing accelerator, it's kicking off in March. I am so excited about it. It's a first ever thing. Then visit us at sweetlifeco.com and we will save you a seat in there. So for this particular show, as promised, you are going to walk away understanding some of the different assets that you can deliver in a Train the Trainer program and the pros and the cons of each. We're going to unpack this for you. I'm going to do a 360-degree view of all of the different content that you may want to deliver in a Train the Trainer program, and also some of the reasons and considerations for each one. Now, your program is going to be completely unique here on the podcast. I'm not able to hear what you have to say and actually personally pour into you like I am able with our clients. So this is going to be a little bit more of a strategic high-level overview, but I know it will be powerful. I get questions about this all the time. And so stick with us here and we're going to dive in and I'm going to share with you all of the nuances of how to build a Train the Trainer program successfully that's going to be profitable for you and valuable for the people you're delivering it to. All right, here we go. All right, so congratulations, first of all, because you have a program that is so great. Now you're leveling up to the next stop and you are bringing other professionals in to understand how to deliver your unique intellectual property, your unique content, your program. And so we need to create a way to help others facilitate your work. And we do that by creating what can be considered as a Train the Trainer program. Now, depending on what you're specifically working on, what we're talking about today is not going to fit into a perfect box, probably for you, but I want you to walk away with really good considerations of how you can package up that Train the Trainer program and what actually makes sense to include for you based on the relationship that you have with the trainers. Now, if you have a huge organization you're working with and they have elected a few people to become trained on your materials because perhaps we are licensing your training into that organization, or maybe you're just bringing it in as a workshop, then you aren't going to actually be able to pick who those people are. So if you're in a position where you don't get to pick who the trainers are, that really helps us to understand what more are we going to want to give to this individual or this group of individuals in a way that's going to make you feel really, really good about these people being the projectors and the facilitators of expanding the reach of your work. Or if you're in a place where you can choose who will be the facilitators of your material, then that is awesome as well. So let's go ahead and start with foundationally, what do you need to deliver to these people to set them up for success? The first is the actual content itself. Okay, this isn't rocket science, but you need to deliver the actual materials of your content, whether it is a program or a course or a curriculum or a step-by-step process or a workshop that they need to facilitate the delivery of. You need to give them the materials that they need. So think about how you created this training yourself when you were delivering this B2C. When you first started delivering this on your own, which is how most of you guys started in this place, which is great because we hashed out all the issues and now we know we can really level it up, right? And it's ready to go. How did you deliver that? You had slides. You probably had an outline of the training. And so, first of all, identify what did I need when I was teaching this directly myself? And then the next step to the foundational materials is, what is somebody else going to need to be able to deliver this well? And here are examples of some of what we recommend our clients build in when we're building a train their trainer program. So the first one is an actual outline in speaking topics for every single benchmark in the program. Of course, you're going to ask now, what is a benchmark? A benchmark is a word that I use to define a different section or part of the program. It may not be a module. A benchmark could be a section of time in a whole workshop day. A benchmark is a focused area of work that is being taught on, that is usually delivered as somebody else would consider it could be a module or it could be a training topic. So those are your benchmarks. So for every single benchmark, you need to outline the agenda for that benchmark. You also need to make sure the trainer fully understands the ideal outcome. Like, what is the goal that we're going for here within this benchmark? What is the end result of understanding that we want people to have, not within the whole program, within this benchmark? So step number one is not only outlining the content, saying here's an outline of the content. I mean, that's pretty basic. Shoot, Chat GPT can do that for you. But what isn't basic? What is your uniqueness? What makes your program powerful is the way you think. It's who you are. It's where the content came from, which is your own genius. And so you need to think about infusing, how are you going to level up that trainer to be able to understand your way of thinking to the best way possible? And so I want you to think about unpacking for them parts of things that they could be thinking about within each benchmark of your program. And as in what needs to be the end result goal of this particular benchmark. And so you're going to have a collection of actual thought processes that you want these trainers to be thinking about. Now, I know that may seem like a ton of work, and this might not be the right thing for you. It's not necessarily the right thing for everybody. You don't have to go to all of this work, but depending on the content of what you teach, depending on how in-depth your material is, and depending on how important mindset and psychology is, which frankly it is to a lot of even the basic business strategies out there, that's certainly something for you to consider. Also, of course, the basics: workbooks, slides, training materials, outlines, agendas, and you can even have what we call a teacher guide. In our programs, when we deliver our classes to other coaches to deliver, our coaches get a trainer guide. And a trainer guide is a breakout of every single slide and questions and things that they can bring up for every single slide. So the trainer and the actual person delivering it can actually facilitate it as if it was their own. And so we're really leveling up that trainer to look like this just incredible, amazing badass, basically. So that's the depth that we go. Those are just some things for you to consider. So part one is the actual content itself. Of course, you're going to want to deliver the basic content, the PDFs, the slides, the workbooks, the worksheets, right? You need to give them all the materials in order to facilitate the program. Then that gold standard, where I really encourage all of our clients that we work with, like we always ask, like, what can we do more? How can we serve more? How can we equip more? It doesn't always mean more content. It just may be more strategic thinking. And those are those other key benchmarks and considerations within the content of the program. So that's part one. We'll call that the core content. But then there are other things that are important to take into consideration that you may want to include in a train the trainer program. And in this episode today, we are not going to be able to get into the model of how you deliver your train the trainer program, meetings, face-to-face, Zoom, groups, benchmarks, all of those things. We work with our clients and we help our clients strategize all those. We would love for you to apply to become a client. Visit sweetlifeco.com and we'll have a conversation about if that's a right step for you. But I want to talk about the content itself and some things that you may not be thinking of. And here's the reason why. Sometimes we have been doing what we've been doing for a really long time, and we kind of take for granted the things we already know, or things that may just be obvious to us in our own communication strengths and skills. It's not always the case. And so in your Train the Trainer program, here are just some examples of other things that you may want to consider adding in. The first one are communication tips, like how to be a thoughtful teacher, or how to be a good listener, or some communication 101. You could even bring a communication expert in to work with the people that you're certifying if communication isn't your particular area of expertise. But how do you actually help them be a better teacher, a better listener, a better leader, a better facilitator? How, if based on your content, are they going to maybe experience some communication issues? So is your content something that could bring up some touchy topics within a workspace, or deal with some topics that are not really well communicated within within a group of people? If that's the case, don't throw them to the wolves. Equip them and think of what you can do to help these trainers really facilitate these tough conversations based on your work. So those are some other things to be thinking about. Some other tactical things that I want you to think about is, what about a roadmap? Can you give your trainers a success mark benchmark roadmap? And this is something, it's a quick visual, it's a graphic where you can say, hey, listen, for people that you're taking through, here is what they should be learning. It's a learning roadmap for their end users to help the trainers themselves know that they're on the right track facilitating the material. So visual things, everybody learns different. I'm a big visual person, so I really love those maps. My clients laugh because I'm always making them maps. And half of them think they're great, and the other half are really nitty gritty thinkers, and they want me to write it out in a project plan. But whatever that is, right? So think about how the people that you're working with think and learn, and alter your materials to equip them based on who they are and based on your materials. And then two other tips for you I want to make sure that you have here today. The first one is user management. This is like a tech side of it. Make sure that you are equipping them to understand how to manage the attendees. So is it a software that they need to have? Is it understanding how to track attendees? How to provide that accountability to the end user is a really big deal, especially when you aren't going to be there to actually handhold, which is the beauty. That's why we love Train the Trainer programs with your material, because we get to free you up so you can go surfing with me for 10 days in Costa Rica with a bunch of girls, right? Like that's the lifestyle that we want, right? Or whatever that looks like for you. But we have to make sure we're thinking about these things. The better you can do equipping the trainers that are delivering your materials, the more surf trips you can go on with me, right? So those are the things I want you to be thinking about. What are the questions that may come up in that? So accountability, keeping people on track, facilitating software. And then the last tip I want to give you is content for internal marketing. Now, hear me out. Again, every single one of these tips is an entire podcast episode on its own, but hear me out. Your trainers are not you, and they don't understand everything, frankly, that you want them to understand and own with the material in your program. And so in the process of being a facilitator of your program, they're going to need to explain how important your program is to the end users, especially if the program is being instituted in an organization where the end users don't have buy-in choice. So let me say that again. If your program is being brought in, I'll say it in layman's terms, if your program is being brought in by an organization where the employees that are taking it don't get to choose whether or not they're taking it, then we need everybody to love it. We want them bought in because we know when they're bought in that they're going to get better results with your materials. How do we equip the trainer to communicate to the end user in why this program is so rad, why it's amazing, why this material is so good, why it's going to make their life better or their work better or their processes better or save them time or, whatever it is that your program does. And so you want to equip the trainer with internal marketing materials. And that could look like swipe copy that they take, just like when we're building affiliate programs to get affiliates to help you launch your training or your course on the B2C side. We do the same thing on the B2C side, on the B2B side, but we're going to equip the trainers with internal marketing for them to best communicate with the people who are taking it to get the buy-in that everybody needs. Because in the end, when we release a Train the Trainer program where everybody has buy-in and the end users freaking love it, then you have renewals, you have word of mouth referrals, your work expands because we have now sold it into more and more and more and more and more organizations, increased your profit, bought you more time, increase the reach of your work so that you can make a greater impact and it's not all sitting on your shoulders all on your own. Creating a Train the Trainer program is a huge game changer. And my dogs are barking, so that is the end of this podcast episode. And I could ramble on this forever, actually. But the reality is that doing this type of level, moving into B2B from B2C is an absolute game changer for you and your business. As long as we do our due diligence, and package up and price and release your materials correctly. And this episode is an initiation to help you build your Train the Trainer program. And if you can just do one thing, at least take one takeaway and look at what you're building and apply that to it, we're going to level up your program automatically. And if you weren't even sure if a Train the Trainer program is right for you, or what's the difference between a Train the Trainer and a certification and licensing your course and releasing it to all these other, companies, if you weren't even sure what the options are available to you, but this podcast episode just spiked your interest, you're absolutely in the right place. And everything we do here as a company is helping experts build your $1 million offer ecosystems and level you up, increase your profit, and expand the reach of your work through building programs like Train the Trainer and licensing programs, and basically taking the work that you've already done and helping you expand your reach and make more money off it. And so if you would like to work with us to do that, definitely consider tapping into our licensing accelerator or just our beginning licensing training called Licensing Launchpad. Both of them can be found by visiting sweetlifeco.com. And all of the show notes, everything we talked about here, is going to be able to be found on our website as well, sweetlifeco.com. This is episode number 317. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because we have so many videos and trainings, and the video of this podcast episode will actually be over on our YouTube channel. If you want to hang out with me visually, leave a comment. I love hanging out with people there and building relationships with you over on our YouTube channel as well. Okay. All right. You guys have an incredible night, and I will talk to you on the next show. Take this, apply it, and level up your business.